5 former pilots of a small airline based in Denver are speaking out to 13 Investigates because of what they consider major safety concerns with aircraft that fly passengers every day in southern Colorado. Problems with the landing gear, GPS, or the autopilot system are things they believe should have kept those planes on the ground but didn't. Twice a day in Alamosa, passengers walk down and then back up the stairs of a Denver Air Connection flight operated by Key Lime Air. It is the only airline offering daily flights for people in Alamosa, Telluride, and Cortez. Key Lime Air is based at the Centennial Airport south of Denver. Dio Beck and James Porter are 2 of the 5 pilots that spoke to 13 Investigates, but the only ones willing to be shown. They say with aviation, safety comes first.
When we're up there, it's, that's our lives, not anybody else's.
The pilots tell us shortly after taking a job with Key Lime Air, they began to notice mechanical problems that weren't being addressed. In these court documents obtained by 13 Investigates, the pilots claim Key Lime aircraft regularly fail to pressurize either fully or at all, exposing the crew to the risk of disorientation, fogginess, unconsciousness, and death. They claim management encourages flight crews to use emergency oxygen masks during routine operations. Other issues include landing without proper lighting. One pilot claims he was told to illegally reset circuit breakers on an airplane mid-flight in an effort to resolve a critical issue with the autopilot function.
Land a plane by myself at night in bad weather, and then your instruments start going out on you, and you start realizing that happens more than once and over again and multiple times in the same plane to different people.
Most pilots aren't test pilots. We don't practice, we don't train to be test pilots. We train to work with operating equipment.
They shared this photo that shows a broken strut on the landing gear and another showing fuel leaking from an aircraft onto the pavement below. This one shows the GPS system not responding. The pilots claim management would often ignore the problems, put the aircraft back in service, and even retaliate against them.
I quit without having another job lined up because I came to the realization that for my own career and safety, it was time to get out of there.
But they weren't just worried about themselves.
There's 50 people on every one of those passenger airplanes. That's assuming those 2 guys in the front are supported properly, trained properly, and are allowed to make the decisions they need to make in order to move that aircraft as safely as possible across the country and not be forced or pressured or bullied into doing something that the pilots know they shouldn't be doing.
The company declined our request for an interview, instead releasing a statement that reads, Key Lime Air has an impeccable safety record during its 27 years serving destinations throughout Colorado, the United States, and Canada. The company is dedicated to safety as its single highest priority, including strict pilot training and stringent operational and maintenance programs. The allegations recently raised by some pilots are an attempt to avoid their contracts with Key Lime Air. Key Lime Air looks forward to proving its case in court against these pilots. The NTSB's database of crashes includes 16 incidents, including 4 where someone died. But the causes were most often a mistake by the pilot, or in the case of this incident in Denver 2 years ago, the actions of another pilot that ran into it. A lack of proper maintenance was never cited as a reason for a crash. 13 Investigates also obtained internal FAA records from 2000 to 2015 that detail 351 investigations into everything from mechanical problems to pilot behavior and 39 cases of enforcement action taken by the FAA. In 2015, the FAA moved to a new system called the Compliance Program, which focuses more on counseling and training when violations are found and only uses civil penalties or enforcement actions for reckless or intentional incidents. Since 2015, the airline has had no enforcement actions. The FAA could not tell us how the number of Key Lime Air investigations compares to airlines of similar size. Pilots can report safety issues anonymously.
Had any of you approached the FAA?
But they explained that it would be very easy to trace a complaint back to them.
When you identify an aircraft by tail number and date of the incident, And it's not hard for management to find out who was flying the plane that day.
The pilots hired attorney Andrew Swan after Key Lime Air sued them for quitting before their 2-year commitments. Swan says by coming forward and countersuing based on the safety concerns, his clients are putting a lot on the line.
They are risking their careers, friendships, reputations to stand up for things that they all, pretty clearly, sincerely believe.
Porter and Beck say they hope this case leads the airline to clean up its act.
I don't want to see them fail. I just want to see them actually do what they need to do to make our jobs an acceptable level of safety.
I would like that somehow, some way to better support that good faith of the passenger, that that aircraft and crew is actually being supported the way it needs to be in order to move those people safely.
Just because we can go and fly these airplanes by ourselves without any automation, any GPS, and these instruments that are unreliable at times doesn't mean we should.
3 of the 4 lawsuits filed so far from the airline against the pilots for quitting before the length of time they agreed to work in this contract are scheduled to be heard sometime next year.
Pretty scary.